Today I effed up by being accidentally racist. So this happened 2 days ago and I'm still cringing. Recently I've taken an interest in chess and my school runs an after-school chess club for beginners, so I thought I'd go along. So anyway, here I am about to play my first game of chess ever. I sit down at the black pieces and my opponent has the white pieces. I should now mention my opponent was African American. The chess teacher says first rule of chess, whites go first. I think to myself, wow, that's pretty racist, but chess is an old game, so maybe they kept the rule out of tradition. So I grab a pawn and slide it forward, then I look up expecting my opponent to make his move. Instead I'm met with a look of confusion and horror. I begin to hear laughter from the people watching. I then realize my error. Oh, you meant the pieces, I murmur. The teacher nods. Now everyone thinks I'm a massive racist. Today I effed up by pretending I had a mental disability. Warning. I am 100% fully aware that I was an absolute ass for this. Would never do something like this now, and completely understand how my actions could be offensive to somebody who has a mental disability or other special needs. Obligatory stuff. I'm on mobile, and this happened when I was 16, 8 years ago. I had recently started working a miserable job at a grocery chain we'll call Large Bird. I was a stupid 16-year-old who was an extremely shy and awkward little guy, so it was a terrible job for me at first. It was a terrible job as a whole because of the company, but terrible for me at first because of just constant cringe-worthy situations. This one takes the cake. I had just started a few weeks ago, and I had a few friends that I started opening up to. We'll call the relevant one a girl named B. I was working the first normal register, and right behind me was all of the self-checkout registers. B is buying some stuff after her shift at the self-checkout just behind me, and we're chit-chatting while my customer is unloading her cart and I'm scanning her stuff. As B is scanning her stuff, I hear her go okay and exhale as if she's finished everything. I mock her in a dumb voice, okay, and she doesn't react. I look up at my customer, and she's staring me down like I just murdered her child. I realize it was my customer who said okay as she finished unloading her stuff. I was completely in panic mode, afraid I was going to get fired and lose my first job. My parents would kill me, I couldn't buy a car, etc. I had to find a way to not seem like an ass. 16-year-old me thinks, I guess I have to pretend I'm mentally challenged now, so I make it seem like I'm a little bit slow. I move a little bit slower. I am on purposely non-conversational with her and answer her questions very slow when she asks them. She pays, and I say thank you, have good day, in a way that it makes me want to punch myself in the face for doing. She looks at me so confused and just walks away. I never heard anything about this again other than B making fun of me for it for years to come. Today I effed up by subjecting my best friend and his wife to porn of my girlfriend on our TV. This happened yesterday and I'm still reeling. Using an alt account for obvious reasons. I'll keep it short and to the point. Yesterday morning my GF and I woke up and decided to get frisky. This time was a little different because I finally decided to act upon my fantasy of filming / taking pics of her during the act. It was super hot and we loved it. I downloaded a video locker app and copied over the vids / pics to encrypt them. Key detail: I forgot to delete the originals from Google Photos. I use Chromecast on my TV in the living room and have it cycle through particular folders of my Google Photos account while it idles. One of those folders is recent highlights. You get the picture. My lifelong best friend and his wife came over to our place yesterday to do some Memorial Day swimming down at the river. My GF was still getting stuff together, so the three of us were sitting in the living room, TV on. And lo and behold, a picture of my GF, tits out and my cock in her hands, faded onto the TV screen. I heard my buddy mutter, "Oh, crap," and they both turned away as I scrambled for the remote to turn off the TV. Jesus effing Christ, I am so effing sorry. I'm so effing embarrassed, I said. They were totally understanding but were definitely embarrassed themselves. I will forever remember the look on their faces. I've never felt so awkward in my entire life. The day went on fine but still weird. I had to tell my girlfriend later that night after they left, which was just salt on the wound. BC, she is very private about sex stuff around others. She's a fairly forgiving person and I'm definitely not in the doghouse, but I know she'll be at least a little bit pissed at me for a while, which sucks. Today I effed up by drawing a dick on a dolphin. Okay, so of course this happened like 7 years ago. Whatever. I'm still bitter about it. I'm on mobile too. Anyways. I worked at a large grocery chain for over 4 years. At the time I was working in the Starbucks kiosk. Before as a bagger, and in the bakery, I had just transferred to a new store for reasons. Everyone said don't transfer there, you'll get fired. I was like whatever, I've been here for a while, I don't do anything wrong. Well, I was wrong. I had this thing I did at the Starbucks kiosk where I would secretly draw boners on things. Only for co-workers and friends I knew would be okay with it. This happened daily. Whether it be a caramel frappuccino or a lowly cup of ice water, if I knew you, I would ask you the deadly question. What's your favorite animal of the day? It would be of the day because some people were here every day almost like me. Anyways. They would tell me an animal, or animals, and I would draw a dick on it, or them. I did this literally every effing day I worked. There was a new hire in the deli. Go ask that girl for a cup of water. Done. I would always be careful to cover up the drawing with a coffee sleeve so customers didn't see it, so they wouldn't get offended or whatever. One day, I was minding my own business when the manager of the kiosk pulled me aside and said one of the cashiers I had never met, I had recently transferred here, had seen a drawing on a bagger's water cup in the break room and written a letter to the store manager about how much it offended her. She told me the store manager read the letter, laughed, then called our, like she was required to do with a sexual complaint. I was like, okay, whatever, it was a cartoon, I'll be okay. Boy, was I wrong. Word traveled fast, and people were fast to recommend other jobs that were hiring in the area so I could get a backup. I thought I didn't need it. One day the bagger in question that had the cup that got seen by the cashier. It was a dolphin with a boner, came up to me to warn me that our was in the store and had called her in to question her. At that point I was like holy crap and went to talk to the assistant manager who was kind of my friend. He said our was going to talk to me next and it would help if I cried and sounded remorseful. I eventually got called into the office with our and sat down. This lady questioned me about it, had me redraw it. Note: I could have drawn it less dramatic, but I was so nervous I drew it right at was shown on the cup, with a dick the size of the dolphin's body. She had me sign it. Plus I didn't cry. I tried but couldn't. They then told me I was suspended pending termination, so I gathered my things and went home. Since it was a sexual complaint, it was serious. My store was part of the UFCW, Workers Union, which pretty much made it twice as bad. My department quickly gathered letters from co-workers and customers to vouch for me to try and save my job. Which did jack crap. I finally got called to the union office to find out my fate. My union rep and her boss were there, who found the situation amusing, and said they got all the letters and everything and said if it were up to them they would give me my job back in a heartbeat, but it was up to their boss. Their boss decided no, since it was a sexual harassment claim, they could not give me my job back. As a condolence, though, if I signed a paper saying I would never work at the grocery chain or any of its sister chains in the US, they would take off my record that I got fired. I agreed. It took time, however. And in the meantime I had gotten another job where I had to tell the manager why I got fired from my last job. He laughed, made me promise not to draw any boners on cups. Side note, I did, and that was that. I moved on. But not. I tell everyone about it. Get a haircut. They know now. Get a cup of water or the movie theater. They know too. You guys all know too now. That I, a 33-year-old female, 27 at the time I think, sexually harassed an older female cashier by drawing a large cartoon dick on a dolphin. My moral of the story is: don't draw dicks on things if there's a narc at your store.